This story takes place in the former Soviet Union in the Republic of Georgia in a small city called Gdauta. It borders on the Black Sea. On January 2nd, 1972, on a cold winter night, the family of Laura and Jakub Jengavazi were celebrating the birth of their youngest son, Nicholas. Not only was he their youngest child, but he was the youngest member of the entire Jengavazi family. Jakub was a general manager of the sports complex in Gdauta, while Laura was the CEO of the local movie theater. She would take Nicholas to the theater as a young boy almost every day, which had a great influence on Nicholas in an artistic way. For days on end, he would sit in the dark theater and watch those sharp-edged, offbeat characters that would later inspire his solo sketches with vivid, seamless, and in rapid-fire succession. At night, his mother would come into the theater and look for him with her flashlight. Most of the time, he would be asleep in the seat, exhausted from watching movies all day. By a very young age, Nicholas knew every movie by heart, especially the Polish, French, and American films. The results of dreams and nightmares, caused from watching so many movies as a young boy, became the basis of performance sketches into his teenage years for his family and friends to watch. He would act them out as people watched in amazement at the characters he had created. He proved himself to be a rare talent able to illuminate his deepest thoughts. Neighbors willingly paid to see him perform. Having a shrewd business sense, Nicholas devised a pay scale. Rich neighbors paid $5. Poorer neighbors paid 25 cents. At 15 years old, he was a brilliant student. Nicholas graduated 1 full year ahead of schedule and passed the entrance exams for both the University of Law and the University of Theater. It's not hard to guess where Nicholas ended up. 6 months into his theatrical training, he was confronted by his parents again. He promised them he would transfer after a brief 10-day student group vacation to Germany. Nicholas arrived in Germany carrying his small knapsack full of clothes, his sultry 400 marks, literally just walking away from his tour group and his life in communist Soviet-controlled Georgia. He was 16 years old, alone, did not speak the language, had no place to go, but all he could think of was studying with Marcel Marceau. With that one bold move, Nicholas took his first step in realizing his dreams. His friend from the airplane gave him a place to stay, a friend's apartment that was unoccupied.
It was a tiny apartment with a small kitchen and a very, very small shower. Well, he didn't even have hot water. It was, he could practically freeze to death every morning. His only furniture, I remember, was an inflatable bed in the corner of the room.
Every 3 hours during the night, he would awaken to reinflate the air mattress bed that had a slow leak. After inflating it 3 times in one night, he decided to sleep on the floor. As morning broke, he would step into an ice-cold shower and nearly freeze to death. Because he was in Dresden on a tourist visa, as well as only 16 years old, no one would give him a job. All he had left was his talent. So he took his last Deutschmarks and bought white face makeup, powder, and headed out the door to perform his new sketch called All Night Alone. Based on his unpleasant nighttime experiences, he had turned it into a comedy. The people loved it. He didn't get rich from it, but he did receive applause and just enough money to get him to Paris. Arriving in Paris at the age of 16, Nicholas had 370 francs, spoke no French, a bit of broken German and his native Georgian. At this time, he didn't know a soul in the new city. Without a second thought, Nicholas jumped into a taxi and headed straight for Marcel Marceau's school. When he arrived, he paid out his last 300 francs, all the money he had left in his pocket, for the entrance exams, which included 7 days of testing. At night, he slept on a bench outside across from the school. He would then use the school showers in the morning. Suffering for his heart was an understatement, but no obstacle would keep him from his dream. On the day of the final exams, he had no music, so he borrowed a tape from a cafe and used it as his show music. He performed a simple man, a painter who becomes an artist. To do so, the man had to sell his soul to the devil. But as an artist, he saves many people, thereby saving his own soul. Nicolas performed the sketch brilliantly. The jury and Marcel Marceau were mesmerized by his performance, and Nicolas had indeed been accepted, but not as a paying student. He was to attend on a full scholarship. Those days were some of the happiest times for Nicolas. He was studying with his idol and was also working in local theaters and earning real money. While performing and developing new stage characters and shows, he gained many friends among the producers and actors.
Everybody liked being around Nicolas. He's such a great guy, so much fun to be with. He was making people laugh all the time. Just loved being around him. He has such an amazing energy that draws people to him. It's phenomenal. Nicolas has this capacity to capture the attention and to make people feel very happy.
He's very creative, and he's so talented, and his mind is just working like so fast, and we had a great time on the set. The dance section is just, it speaks for itself.
For spectacular productions, WorldGate Entertainment.
Soon he created his own production company, WorldGate Entertainment. It was at this time he began performing his show, Bubble Nicholas, throughout the world. The audiences grew larger and larger, as well as his fan base. Success was evident. After finishing 2 years of the 3-year program at Marcel Marceau's school, he was ready to move on to his other dream of film directing. He attended film school in Paris and graduated with full honors in 1996. The Walt Disney Company showed a great interest in bringing Bubble Nicholas to the Epcot Center. However, not only was he able to perform as Bubble Nicholas, but he also brought his other productions with him too. Nicholas adapted very well to the American audiences and decided to continue his creations in the United States. In 2001, Nicholas decided to create a show called The Marionette, and he began traveling with the show, performing throughout Europe and Asia. The act was an instant success and became so popular that Nicholas had to hire bodyguards to keep his adoring fans from overtaking him, the stage, and partner Stephen Romer, who plays the character of the kid in the show, and lately in the film. Ironically enough, the overnight success was also an overnight production. In 2002, Nicholas met with producer and director Bill Rod. Together they decided to make a feature film combining their creativity. They produced and directed The Marionette, which wrapped in July 2003.